The minutes will reflect that we're all here. Called the meeting agenda, it was distributed. Doesn't look like there's anything, big deals on the agenda. We discussed the budget at the last meeting, and the minutes reflected that. Does anybody have any changes in the agenda, first of all, that they would like to suggest? If not, the record will reflect unanimous approval of the agenda. And what about the August minutes? Did anybody see any need for change or improvement? Hearing nothing, the minutes are approved unanimously as well. Golf report, are we going to have one?
Well, I can do a brief update. Paul is actually on the road right now, traveling to Duluth
Okay.
for supplies.
Why don't you just say whatever you want to say?
Well, I have some good news. We ran the year-to-date revenue through the end of August. It's up 20% versus
Wow.
2024. So,
And we only raised prices, what, 5% or so?
yeah, or less. Yeah, really.
That's great.
A lot of increased play is the bottom line. Like literally $30,000 up. Last year at this point we were at 140,000. This year we're at 170,000. So really good job.
So that means with next year's budget, where the expenditures were up, they'll be closer together again.
I believe so. We'll be able to follow up on your request to dial up the revenue a little.
If it makes sense to do so, and
Yeah.
apparently it does.
September can be a really good month as well. Last September
That's
we
why
made
it's
about
up so much.
25,000. So we've got this goal of 200,000, which was never before thought
Well,
possible.
since you guys aren't members, when we play, you'll be contributing to that.
True. So, September,
I
of
did my
course,
2 times.
Oh, that's
September, very weather dependent month though, just like camping and boating. Like last September was super nice, super hot, dry, and so it's gonna be hard to beat. But for sure, based on what was kind of a normal year, normal like weather-wise, like the play was way up thanks to Paul and his good crew and the conditions and word of mouth and a little bit of advertising, but we know we need more advertising. We're certainly aware of that. But yeah, the bottom line is really looking good up there. But conversely, there's been some equipment issues. The latest is the septic tank. Septic system had a bit of a leak, a bit of a malfunction there for the clubhouse. And so I think that's what he's working on right now as far as getting parts, but he's got a local contractor on board to help out with this leak in the tank. Could be one of those issues though, bigger ticket because of the age of that tank, if it's cracked and it might need a new septic tank. Don't have a price on that yet, but
Who gets to go down and fix the leak?
yeah, a local contractor.
How
Not
about
me.
staffing costs? Are they about the same?
Staffing is a little bit under budget. We were a little bit short in the clubhouse this year. So yeah, we've got a little savings there, not a lot.
Yeah.
Pretty even there. But I know Paul's also working on this idea of like working with one of these of a fellow club that is, getting rid of their carts at the end of the season. I think he talked about this a couple meetings ago where we have this opportunity to purchase some fairly good condition used carts from a colleague of Paul's that we got to work on getting that papered up and see if we can afford that. But no, overall conditions are great. Play's been great, and the bottom line reflects that.
And not for the minutes, but your chairman and his partner won the senior league this year by 1 point. Yes, well, we get to divide $300 equally, as it turned out. But that was a great moment in personal golf history.
There you go.
All right,
noting.
if you have a big enough handicap, you're useful. All right, anything else on golf? Any other questions or comments? All right, city council, Craig?
Yep, city council, we had a discussion, basically, the big item on the agenda was discussing the budget. So we opened up the meeting with, putting together some information, for next year's budget. We don't have anything finalized right now simply because we have to bring in some other departments' numbers and everything like that, but we did discuss quite a bit of, figures and numbers concerning this new building and what it's costing to operate, things like that, so, It's about really the discussion I have. We'll be continuing more budget process. The next meeting we have in a work session that we're gonna be having, so. That's about all I have.
Okay. Questions from anybody? There's a fenced off area here beside the parking lot. Is that belong to the city?
No, what's paved out here
Yeah.
is the city property.
Who owns that?
The
lot?
other
We don't-
property is,
Joel.
Joel St.
Joel,
John.
the guy that, yeah, the same owner that owns the corner of, the land across from Ben Franklin.
Oh, you mean the place where the fire was?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yep,
Joe somebody.
yep.
All right. Parks report. We had a brief thing in the mail, or in the email, I should say, and it's underneath your agendas and minutes if you want to look at it. And you want to highlight that for us, David?
Sure, Steve. Yeah, similar to last month in July where we were about flat. I think we were up about $1,000 last July versus previous July. This August came in with that same trend, almost even, up $2,600, which is less than 1% on $330,000. So too bad for us. We did suffer a dip in occupancy, our sales. You know, if we factor in our 5% rate hike, it would have been nice to be up that amount at this point, but not so much. So year-to-date revenue compared to last year is up only 2.6%. Not the worst, not the best. Last year, we were in the same trend where as of the end of August, we were kind of flat or just a few points up on 2023. But then September and October were really good months for us last fall. The weather held out, it was hot, dry in September and October. And so we made some big gains those 2 months. And, looking at that, I think I ran the numbers over $400,000 in revenue from last September and October. And so kind of putting that together with what we've already got at about 1.5, we're still in great shape. Even if we come out even with last September and October, we're gonna be up to that like 1.8, 1.9 on our final numbers, which are gonna be above projected revenue. So we're in good shape, but just not that kind of big growth that we're used to. Some years we see, 5-10% growth.
You mentioned earlier that July was kind of flat because of a lot of bad weather. Was August similar?
I can't say that same excuse. August seemed a bit drier. So no, the rain wasn't as big of a factor as July. But one theory is the heat of the southern half of the state, like the Twin Cities area in particular, didn't suffer that heat dome and heat indexes in the 100 pluses like some summers. So kind of a look down the road where the weather in the Twin Cities wasn't insufferably hot in August would be an offset for why folks weren't coming up the shore to get away from that heat. One theory. The Canadian guest is another factor there where we've definitely noticed a downturn in Canadian visits, so there's that. But no one reason in particular stands out as to why August was flat. Seemed like decent weather up here, but like I say, just not hot down south.
Do we need to explain that we're not the reason why Canada doesn't like the US?
We try. I'm sure that's wouldn't help. As the local visitor bureau is already into that, and that was even at the start of the season, there was like a come down in May kind of campaign, to try to get Canadians down, welcome them, but it's just not falling on the right ears, or we don't have that concerted effort.
My golf partner, Sari, has a bumper sticker on the back of his Tesla that says Anti-Elon Tesla Club. Maybe we need something like that
Well, we just want to say, come on down, welcome neighbors.
Yeah.
for the internet.
But the exchange rate is also very not in their favor. It continues to be close to like 70% or something, 60-some percent, so.
So, can you remind me over the years, we did a 5% rate hike. I mean, are we 3 to 5 each year, roughly?
1 to
Never higher.
5, yeah, some years it's 2.5, some years it's 3, some years it's 5. There's no like
There's no
every year
set,
the
but-
same, but the last year was 3, or sorry, 5, the year before that was 3. There's a lot of it in the convenience of the rates where like 3% is like 50 cents more a night and 5% is
Right,
a
yeah,
dollar
yeah.
more a night. And so it's kind of trying to keep those rates even.
Do we have any forecast as to how quickly the long-term seasonal lots that are gonna be converted to, monthly lots or season,
Nightly.
something less than this whole season? How fast that's gonna happen, do we know?
You know, nothing that's scientific, but anecdotally, we've already got 3 of the 30 that are in play this season already. And there's gonna be a 4th added as another person's sold out from their prime lot. So just in 1 year, we'll have 4 out
And
of
that by
30.
itself should increase revenue on the margin, shouldn't it?
It does. It sure does. And so I have to account for that some in our, as we looked at the budget last month and there was like that daily category and then the monthly category, we'll have to start to adjust those accordingly because we're less monthly sites. Because really each one of those was returning $4,500 per site. So yeah, across 3-4 sites, you know, that's approaching $20,000. But conversely, as a nightly, we hope to capture that same amount and more. And so it's, I think, more of an accounting technique to not, you know, to reflect that fine in the nightly versus the monthly.
Well, the seasonal, what do we make off those lots in, for the seasonal charge?
About 4,500.
Okay, so you're saying if they're doing it for 2 weeks or a month, it should be somewhat increased?
That's the plan, or that's the, on paper theory, like, yes, nightly rates are like 40% more than seasonal monthly rates. So that we can look on some of those, like the front row sites, for example, the ones right down on the bay, they return over $10,000 per site on nightly rates. But keep in mind, those charge the most premium prices. Those are like the $77 a night sites, and we don't offer the weekly discount. So obviously they're the most popular, they're always full. So there's no question those like 12 sites down front that are nightly are the high performers, and we make nearly 20% of our nightly revenue.
That we're converting are lakeside sites basically, aren't they?
True, but the second row, as we say, these new ones that are coming on as nightly don't charge that same $77 price. They charge like a $60 price, and we still offer the weekly discount on them, which is the free night.
So we wanna reconsider that issue at some meeting between now and the next
Yeah.
season?
Next meeting, we'll look at rates for 2026, rates and policies, and that'd be the ideal time to take a look at those sites. Couple of decisions also, should they be reservable versus non-reservable drop-in? I would tend to favor reservable, as then they would be booked like fully. I already have this sort of feeling that they're not being used as much as they could be as drop-ins, where we have this demand, people go online to book, they don't get those options to book, but they're sitting empty. So,
So you'll give us some numbers to look at next month?
for sure,
Okay,
and strategy.
very good.
And my question too is these percentages here, the 2.6, does that include the marina and the mooring field?
Yep. Yeah, this is a combined like campground and marina
Okay.
revenue, does not include golf.
Was the marina bad in August like July also?
Not nearly as bad. No, fuel sales were actually even, $15,000 each month, each year. So unlike July where they were down like 50%, we made a big recovery, or we were able to match last year's fuel sales. A big part of that is the Border Patrol boat, right? The local Border Patrol agents keep a go-fast boat in the marina, twin 250s, usually puts on 100 gallons of gas every time it goes out, which is like $500. And they didn't go out much in July. They had, you know, crew and staffing issues where they need like 4 people on the boat. And so that was noticeable, like why we were off in July, not just the weather, but the lack of the Border Patrol using their boat. And so just now this past month, they've had new recruits, new training, much more fuel sales to them. We've also had some big boats, you know, 300 gallons of diesel sales really puts us in good shape. So, yeah, we're in good shape, but we really need some nice weather here in September and October to make pace with last year. And unfortunately, this week doesn't look like it's it. It's definitely turning. Big news here from internally staff as far as celebrating a successful passing on of the portable restroom trailer. Just this morning, I met with Victor, the driver from the company. I think he's just a third-party contract delivery person, but we are done with the portable restroom trailer. City council approved the buyback program, which you can see here was, I thought, very attractive as far as we paid about $108,000 for it. The offer from the company was $75,000, a little bit more than I anticipated, given its condition, but I wasn't one to point out all the little scratches and flaws. So, yeah, really, I think a successful experiment here with temporary public restrooms in, the recovery of $75,000 from this trailer.
Did we ever do an estimate of the cost of an equivalent number of porta potties instead, just to see how much more, if any, we paid?
Yeah, no, but porta potties were still placed in Boulder Park last summer next to the restroom trailer as a 24/7 solution, even though the trailer was being locked at night, and so the thought was to keep a few porta potties next to it so it didn't get vandalized or beat up too badly. And it turned out with G&G's service where they sort of keep track of use and toilet paper use and fill it up the bowl use, and they really ended up with about the same amount of porta potties as every summer because it just gets that busy down there. And so there wasn't a lot of cost savings with our porta potty budget last summer as a result of the trailer. There was some extra expenditures for pumping the trailer, right? That was an additional service that isn't reflected in this $108,000. I think when it's all said and done, the trailer costs the city about $130,000 when you factored in the pumping and the electricity that needed to be supplied to it in the spring. And so, it wasn't cheap, but it's good to recoup a significant portion of that.
And that was a city expense, not a park?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it did not reflect the park expense budgets.
Right.
I believe it was kind of packaged into the city hall budget.
Yeah. And was it just one summer?
Yep.
Wow.
Because now we have these ones, right, that are open the same hours as the liquor store?
More or less, they open earlier on the weekends. It's
Earlier in
8
the
a.m. 7 days a week, whereas the liquor store is like a later opening on the weekends. But then they close when the liquor store closes.
At 8 o'clock.
10
8 to 10.
o'clock?
Yeah.
They close at
9.
8, I think.
I think they're open till 9 now, aren't they?
Maybe on the weekend it's later.
Um,
Whatever it is, the town rolls up its streets by 9.
Yeah. Yeah, and really to have a first summer under our belt with these, it's been, I think, very successful as far as staff cleaning them. No big hassle, no big issues, no big breakages. A couple of graffiti vandalism incidents, markers on the walls, but with the durable tile surfaces, that stuff cleaned up pretty easy. But the use was tremendous, and the durable surfaces are proving themselves just that.
And your staff cleaned the trailer, but is your staff cleaning these ones too?
It's a shared responsibility with the streets department. So just like the trailer where streets cleans it in the morning, we clean it in the evening. That's still the model. But it looks like streets actually sort of picked up a part-time seasonal employee off of our roster to work for them. It's the same budget. It's just
Right.
Who's the boss, who's the supervisor issue. But yeah, we've shared our workers with the streets department, and one of them's so good they just picked her up, and she's kind of the main person on this and might continue through the winter. That's yet to be worked out. But yeah, good news on the restroom trailer being gone. More good news, the application we put in late July for the Bathhouse 2 funding to the state, $1.3 million. They're obviously interested in it because they're coming up tomorrow for a site visit. Joe Shapesky from the Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails Commission, he's like the coordinator. I think he'll be bringing up a few of the selection committee people that are out touring sites, touring project sites. They're in Duluth tomorrow morning, and then they'll be up here tomorrow afternoon.
In case members want to walk along with that tomorrow, what time will it begin and where?
The time's to be determined. I said 2:30, but I got an email from Joe that he might be running early, so he would let us know when he's leaving Duluth. So I can't say, Steve, it could be any time in the midday. And there's a little issue of like public meeting law where we couldn't have like 3 or more of you in on the tour,
So if people want to join you, they should call you about 9 or 10, by then you'd know what's happening?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Is it with just you, or is Mike going, or what?
I think it'll just be me. Mike Fisher or Roth?
Roth,
I don't know.
just
I think
curious.
it's just me.
Not that I don't think you can handle it.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe not, maybe that's not the worst idea to have a little wingman support. Yeah. I did have a nice chat with Mike Fisher though, our LHB consultant. And, cause he's really keen on this project, and the initial contract that we signed with LHB to put this all together was like on a like hourly billing schedule, not to exceed $30,000. If we think back to like several months ago when we got those guys under contract, it was about a $30,000 proposal for all the work they've done to like prepare the plans and submit the application. It sounds like we haven't spent that amount out. He's gonna get with his accounting department to figure out where we're at with that funding, or with you know, what we've spent. And he's pretty certain we're under the 30,000. And if that's the case, he's like offering more services, like what else should we plan? Where else should we go with this? I kind of put him on hold, you know, thinking, let's just take it one step at a time. If and when this grant comes in successful, we've obviously got the next step of like real engineering and plans, you know, architectural plans that are not gonna be cheap. So we might just like keep that money for that. But I also said, you know, in terms of phasing this master plan and the next big priority, yes, there's the trailhead parking and the rec hall and the idea of like, what should we do across the street? And we're pretty sure we're gonna work with the DNR on that in maybe a separate category of funding, where because the DNR, you know, wants to see this for their Gitchagami bike trail, they wanna see that trailhead parking. There's other funding mechanisms within the DNR that could help with that. Wouldn't be legacy money. And so it's a bit of an off-season project for me to work with Two Harbors DNR on this trailhead parking idea. And, you know, if the rec hall is included in that, you know, restrooms are certainly gonna be a piece of that. So that's kind of playing out over here with the DNR separately. So I felt, at least my initial feeling was this Lake Walk Trail from the marina or from the bridge, you know, from the connection corner down along the south side of the front row across the little creek to the pavilion, to the boat launch. To me, that was a big, something we heard from the public, something important and something everyone would value, you know, the idea of like separate from the road, we have a walking path that's along or near the lake. Really is where I would focus funding or planning. But again, we can talk about this in the off season, like if and when this bathhouse 2 is a go, well, we'll start working on that, but then what's the next step? What's the next phase? And I think just based on comments from the master planning process and park use and seeing people use these areas, like that walking trail separate from the road is an important piece for this, and the bathhouse too, as far as like serving not just park users, but day users and beach users and boaters and everyone else. So we'll see, when I'm with the group tomorrow strolling, we'll take that route just as a preface to things to come. I think they're gonna wanna know, like, right, like, you put this bathhouse here, how's that gonna serve the greater good? And so we'll be able to walk that and look, well, there it'll be, you can see the bathhouse from the lake.
Could you close the road?
No. Not if we want access to those RV sites.
You wouldn't be able to come in and go from the upper road?
No,
Can't get turned around down there.
no, that's entirely how you get into those sites. And, on any given day, it's more pedestrians than cars on that road.
I ride that road all the time,
Yeah,
and it's wall-to-wall pedestrians and dogs.
yeah. And it only gets tight at the culvert, at the creek.
Right. That needs to be
There are a
widened.
number of sites there that don't have a back door, especially as you get closer to to the corner.
Could
With the
it,
main
could it
road.
be made such that the first row is back access?
Nope.
Boy, that's two no's.
Sorry, Bob.
I'm glad I
Gotta be a
came.
drive.
I mean, it's always possible, but it would take a major, no, it actually isn't possible. Cause there's
That's three
those
no's.
second row sites right above them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I came. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, sorry, Bob. But, for sure, we know there's a route on the south of that road that's perfect for walkers. I mean, I walk it now. It kind of, rambles in and out of like there's some coastal cover there, wildflowers and shrubbery and the fish museum and like, there's kind of already a pretty well beaten path, not on the loose cobblestone, but back in that little brush buffer. That is sort of where we would picture that. But something I talked about with Mike is like, and something we heard in the master plan is, we don't want another lake walk, right? Look at all the maintenance and the washout and how many times they've had to fix the lake walk in Duluth because of high waves. We have that same phenomenon here with an unprotected harbor, big waves coming in from the southeast. I've seen them topping over that cobblestone beach and flooding out the road. Not too long ago in the spring when the ground was still froze, there was 2 feet of standing water throughout that front row and then the road, and any kind of trail we do down there has gotta be,
So what does that mean in terms of constructing a path there?
design and engineering needs to be feasible. We need to look at what it would cost to do it in pavement or concrete.
Or raised?
Yeah, it's gotta be ADA accessible. But yeah, boardwalk, maybe, as long as it's not a lake walk that washes out.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Boy, good reason to close the road right there.
Can't park campers if you close the road.
Yeah,
Can't
that was option
That's still
2
a
on
no.
the master plan.
So you put in a bunch of tiny houses.
He'll come around, take him a few years.
Yeah, I might
Just keep
retire.
asking.
I might retire, you can ask the new guy.
Then comes the whole issue then, once you do all that, you're still gonna have people walking on the road.
Yes,
So I mean, it's like,
yes,
you know how that goes. You build a bike path and people go down Highway 61 on their bikes. So.
yes. Yeah, it's all,
But at least if they're on the, they might choose to walk closer to the lake, which is might help that. Especially if there's some kind of signage or whatever that gets people through that bridge area and out to the.
If we get half the walkers off the road, that'd be worth doing, wouldn't it?
Well, like you said, there's not a lot of traffic down there. I drove through there today, but I mean, there's people walking and it's like,
Yeah.
there's not. The only reason I drove through there is go take a look at the boats and see who's cleaning fish and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, the whole main use for that road pretty much is for campers going in and out. Otherwise, it becomes a little private walkway for people who are staying down there. People walking over to the North House, that kind of thing.
yeah, and once the season's over and the camping's over, it's even less driven and more walkers, more like townies, dog walkers. It's a beautiful area. I'm happy to share it with the group tomorrow. I wish, hopefully it's not raining too bad, but
Yeah,
it's in the forecast.
might be okay.
So then last thing for us is not last, but the big event of September, of course, Radio Waves, back in the park this weekend, Friday, I believe about 4 o'clock it starts.
Yeah.
Tent is already set up. Power will go in on Thursday. This is their 18th, not consecutive year, but 18th time in the park, 19 musical acts. We'll be doing our usual striping of the ball field to maximize parking down there for day users. We also set up the barricades and additional trash and recycling just to support the event. But it should be noted, the station does rent 17 of those sites that are closest to the back, to the Blue Gate. They pay good money for those. That includes the power up for the stage, and then they use that for food trucks and some staff and
The Blue
security.
Gate is the one that goes into Sweetheart's Bluff? Okay. How did it get the name of the Blue Gate?
Yep, so we're very excited to be having that event back, because it's really quite a celebration, a local celebration that got a lot of campers coming in that are from Cook County.
Is there enough power down there for that?
There is,
That's amazing, because all those food trucks and
yeah,
the stage has got to
yeah,
suck
you'd
a
think
lot.
we need 600 amps, huh?
Well, I went down and prowled around, it just looks like you'd have to
Yeah.
take everything and run it to the stage.
Our
Yeah,
biggest problem last year was, we didn't have it was about a GFI.
yeah,
And what Sam set up, the electrician,
yeah,
and we lost power to it because of a GFI, but
Tripping.
they're on it this year.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there's plenty of power, but I think legally they now have to, the festivals have to have GFI protected things.
Yeah.
And the stages can blow out a GFI really quick.
Yeah.
One twang of the guitar,
yeah.
How much power does the stage take?
a bunch.
Got it, thank you.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
So we need to have somebody sitting by the GFI to push it back.
Just
when
push
it
it
blows.
really quick. That's your job.
Okay,
Push that.
I'll do that on Saturday, yeah.
They got that figured out though. That was the biggest problem last year.
Okay.
But,
yeah,
and it was so interesting because last year was both Sam Hedstrom and Jonathan Hedstrom were both there at the same time. And neither one of them could figure it out. Took
Which
them
of the
about
18
2
acts will be
hours.
of most interest to people who learned their music in the 50s and 60s?
The swing band,
When will that be?
10 a.m. Saturday morning. We'll save you a chair.
And Sunday
I'll bring my
noon,
own.
Sunday noon looks wonderful,
There you go.
yeah.
that's all I've got. I will be appearing before council, like Craig mentioned. I think next week I'll be in on a work session with the budget. So we'll take a look at those numbers, and
I wonder budgets do.
last month, the drafts, but the council deliberates now for the next couple of months on the levy. Right, they set a preliminary levy, sort of, not to exceed, and then wait for final revenue on all our operations to come in late October. We'll have some final numbers on revenue, and expenses get really close, and then by December, it's finalized.
Have we had any progress on our sign? Is that part of some project that's going,
Yeah,
To
it's
happen?
this grant project, yeah,
not this current one?
yes, the current
Oh,
one.
the big new sign? So can we get a look at that before it's in the ground?
For sure.
Contracted
Oh, yeah.
for?
First, we gotta get the money, but then we'll look at the design.
Money, look at some design ideas.
Wonderful.
Did you ever do a census of townies in the park compared to residents?
Not officially, just anecdotally,
But there's a lot of us down there.
for sure. Especially off-season. It's all
Walking,
townies.
walking, biking, hanging out.
Yeah, there's some groups that are like seasonal, they don't come when it's busy because
Yeah.
too many dogs. But there's some diehards that come every day, and
Yeah,
Oh,
Be
yeah.
sure to tell them that Lois, our 90-year-old walker with 2 poles, and her landlord walk there every day in the summer.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's a great spot.
She
But
was-
no, I don't do any,
She was,
because it just gets a lot of city use.
it
A
sure
lot.
does, which
And
is
that
great.
pavilion gets a lot of city use.
And I think that's part to our message over the years, at least on my tenure, I've said, we're not just a campground, we're not a private, come on down.
Yeah,
Like, we're a
yeah.
public park. The connection, the landing, all that, the master plan, all that has only enhanced our
Yeah.
messaging of, we're open, we're a great I think you said it last, we're a fantastic public park that just happens to have a campground.
Yeah,
And that's really well said.
yeah, my wife will be down swimming in the bay tonight regardless of the temp, That's
Yeah.
a townie.
Yeah. Yeah, I have seen a lot of use of the beach and the
Yeah.
pavilion, and
Yeah.
it's just been a nice kind of slow awakening to the opportunities down there. And once people find out, they keep coming back. For for sure townies use the rec hall for birthdays and reunions and showers and memorials and the pavilion as well, so we wanna keep that spirit.
So a take back the beach movement.
Open it up,
Yep.
make it accessible,
Yep.
make it comfortable.
Is there anything you have to add on your report, Dave?
That's it,
Are
Steve.
there any other comments or questions from the members
I,
with regard to parks?
oh,
Okay?
I have something.
Okay.
And I don't know if it would go under your report or old business, but I just need a clarification because I've had a couple people approach me about this proposed trail system up the Gunflint that, you know,
Oh,
And-
Sweetheart's Bluff, or not Sweetheart's, Sawtooth,
Such a,
Sawtooth Bluff.
well, I'm aware of the whole, you know, the thing at the old, you know, the end of the old ski hill, what's it, Sheaf or Sheol, his property.
Sheaf property.
Yeah, that whole thing. And I said, and I asked both these people, I said, is that what you're talking about? And they're like, no, there's another one. There's another one that's west of the water tank. And they said, they heard you on the radio talking about it. And I was like, I don't think there's two things going on. And they insisted that there, it was a different, because I kept saying, well, this is, you know, you mean the one where he's trying to get the county to buy the property, you know? And they were like, no, the city owns the property. And I'm like, I don't,
Sure, okay, so
It's county land up there.
right.
this is all Sawtooth Bluffs,
It's just one project, right? There's not.
in
two-
essence, but it's, so, man, I could see me talking about it 3 months ago when Mitch Travis was here.
Right.
That's the Sawtooth Bluffs
Right.
County City project.
Right,
It is one project.
right.
The Sheaf is a separate county initiative that is in that same context of Sawtooth Bluffs because of how it borders, or like, I guess, interrupts some of the county land that's over the hill. That if, there's some access issue, right, where like, to get to the Sheaf property, you have to go through
State.
the Sawtooth Bluffs county, you know,
Right.
land.
He has
Right.
access to do that.
And so why that came up or why that's being talked about is not our regard, not the city.
No,
It's the
right.
county
It's
thing.
the county, right.
It really has nothing to do with the city property that's the front side of this Sawtooth Bluffs 600-acre project. Let's say 400 of it is the county's over the hill, and 200 of it is the city's front side, you know, from the ridge line on down.
Okay,
And yes, in that master plan from 2018, that was a city-county collaboration. There's a bubble concept diagram of biking trails and hiking trails and dog parks and disc golf parks and ski trails and an access road in approximate at the water tower location. And some sort of support facility, you know, restrooms. It's all just bubble drawings and conceptual maps of, you know, if and when we ever got regionally significant,
right,
was the push for that in
Right.
2018. But it ended up in a bit of a, okay, here's a good ideas for plans if the city and the county can agree to the shared management and ownership of this facility, of the trails, et cetera. So there was this like, they took that plan only so far because it's not just a city land project, it's not just a county land project, it's both. And the need for a joint powers agreement was evident and remains so. And just in this recent last 9 months of the county allocated like $30,000. So the county's got a Parks and Trails Commission, which is made up of like trail users and Craig,
Forestry, DNR,
are you on that?
yeah.
Yep, DNR, county, Mitch. I'm not a seated member, seated member, but Craig is our
Smallville Trail.
city liaison. And so that group, that county Parks and Trails Commission last summer said, after we got our regional significance for the rec park, they kinda got back to Sawtooth Bluffs and said, what about us? What about the Sawtooth Bluffs? What can we do to get regionally significant? And so I went to one of their meetings and just said, hire HKGI. And they said, oh, how much would that cost? And I said, $70,000. And so the county then allocated $30,000 to that end, thinking or hoping the city would come and match that,
Oh,
right? And we'd re-engage with master planning of Sawtooth Bluffs and have a consultant that would like get us through the process, which is not what needs to be done. We need to come to the table with a joint powers agreement. The city-county officials. And the city's always had this message of, we'll be there when you're ready, county,
it
but we
just
want
hasn't
you to
moved
lead.
forward.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The city's position has been, still is, this isn't a priority for us, but we're happy to help if and when it's a priority for you, county. And the commission might think it's a priority, so much so that they got the board, the county commissioners, to allocate $30,000 for planning. And I think that's what spurred the recent news and efforts about, like the survey. And then Mitch came to the
His
city
presentation.
council and said, where are we at? Council said, well, it's not a priority.
Yeah, 2025, it wasn't, a priority, on our priority list. We haven't sat down for 2026 yet, but, maybe there'll be a discussion at that time to see how the county's viewing it.
Yeah, and so in terms of like land to the west of the water tower, yeah, that's city land. It's in the Sawtooth Bluffs bubble, and there's really no immediate plans to develop it.
Is your sense that the preserve the bluff effort that's going on is only about the private property development that they're against, or is it?
I'm not that
is it-
familiar with that, actually. I just read the article on the radio site about it. It's my only knowledge of that group, so I can't really speak to what that's about.
Like, I'm not sure if they're against this, development that you've just been describing.
I have not either.
Yeah, huh,
Well, there's been a lot of talk about what to do, where to take it, what are the suggestions? There's just a lot of talk
right.
about everything. I mean, it could become hiking trails, bike trails, recreational use for the public. It could all tie into the Pine Mountain or the
Pincushion.
Pincushion area, all those kinds of things, you see. But I think, I think what came to the forefront on a lot of those discussions was, okay, what's gonna actually be constructed or built up there that we're gonna see from downtown? And I think that's a concern that people are having. Of course, there's a lot of private land up there, and you can't, people have the right to do what they wanna do on the private land, build what they wanna build a house, build a cabin, whatever.
Subject to city zoning, of course.
Yeah, if they're on city land, or some of it's county land,
Right.
Yeah,
so,
well, the county land's behind the mountain, right?
no.
So that's less
Some
of
of
a
it-
visibility issue?
That's a generalization, but
Yeah, well, some of it on the edge is county, like that gentleman's land, that's county. So, I don't know, right now it's just a discussion of, they're bringing it back to the forefront of, cause it was all talked about in 2018? Then, and some of the pieces kind of have fallen into place, sort of like the dog park. There was also discussion about disc golf, or disc, yeah,
Frisbee golf.
frisbee golf, whatever, and that was actually gonna be on the other side of the Gunflint, in that one corner piece of land, and now that's got changed to something else, and I don't know where that is right now either, but, just brainstorming things, so I guess it's whatever,
Somebody's gotta just really champion it to
well, yeah,
move it forward,
Yeah.
it seems like,
user groups.
Okay, well, that's helpful, just
Yeah.
to clarify.
user groups, and I think the
Yeah.
general consensus is, at least in my opinion, of watching this kind of roll out is, I think, I can't predict anything, but I'm thinking ultimately, you know, it's gonna be orientated towards public use. I think that's gonna be the least controversial thing to do, but, you know, I don't know. What does
Yeah.
that mean, right? I don't, you know.
And low impact,
Low impact is a big thing.
natural, like that was the, you know, the 2018 master plan, which is still available, still online, was a good effort. We had good engagement, we had open house type of stuff and surveys and what would you like to see up there, and everybody said leave it alone, or I shouldn't say everyone, but the message was let it be, don't wreck the views, don't overdevelop it, keep it natural, was the conclusions. And that was in accordance with like, well, if it's a regionally significant park, that locks it up for those, you know, non-developed, you know, non-intense development activities, like the, you know, hiking trail, biking trails you wouldn't see from down here.
Right.
If there's camping, it would be dispersed tent camping, not RV park trailer camping. So, you know, it had already sort of gone that direction in 2018, where the kind of uses that were programmed on that bubble diagram were very low impact, nature-based recreation as a way to secure that view shed and, you know, prevent development. So, but there was a clear like need for a joint powers agreement and who's gonna run it, how's it gonna be
Right.
funded? That sort of business is yet to be settled.
What caused the city to own that parcel of land up there? Has it always owned it, or?
It's always been city land. It was a city ski hill at one time.
Oh, that's
The part of the old ski chalet, I don't know if it's there yet, but part of it was there. It was a single tow rope that went up the hill.
I've
and,
walked the area, it's kind of, looks like fun.
I used to ski it when I was younger. We'd make mini skis out of our old parents' old wood skis. We'd cut them up and make mini skis out of them.
So does that account for all of the land the city owns up there? Or was
The golf
there
course.
additional land bought?
That's even farther up though.
Right,
Yeah,
That's an even bigger mystery, is like, how is the golf course city land?
exactly, there's another one.
What?
The city golf
that
course.
has to do with
Well, that's on the other
Like
side
the
of the road.
Gilchrist
the county.
family,
Gilchrist family.
yeah.
Yeah.
I-
It was private.
Objection,
Yeah, give it to the
non-responsive.
city or something.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm talking about the land that goes from the water tower
yeah.
until you get to the part that was the old ski hill,
Yeah, going west.
going west.
Yeah. Why is it city? I don't know, because, well, it's also goes all the way down to the hospital. Because of the water tanks along the Gunflint, I suppose the city had all of it. They had to have that land to do the water system. The old water system used to be dug into the side of the Gunflint Trail where that metal tower is now.
Yeah,
That says Gunflint Trail, when you go up to Gunflint, the old water tank used to be buried in that hillside. It was a clay tank.
I didn't know.
And they dug that all out, of course, to do the new tank. And then I think that's about the time they did the other two tanks that are down lower.
if there's anybody in this city who knows more about how we acquired that property, I'd be interested in knowing the answer.
Yeah, maybe they've had it for years, I don't know.
Does that address most of your
Yeah,
questions,
that's
Kay?
really helpful, thank you.
You know, I think the message to the masses is like, nothing's happening currently.
Yeah, there's no hard, fast plans, this is what we're gonna do, because, at the Parks and Trail Commission, we did talk about some things that, you know, where people were bringing up, and I'm just, no. Nope, that's not gonna work, that's not gonna work.
More no's.
No, that's not gonna work.
More no's.
That's not gonna work, so it's just like, well, we gotta talk about it, right? You gotta lay everything out there, and, you know, if we're gonna do something up there, then you're gonna need public input, you're gonna need all kinds of
Find a lot
things
of
that you
money.
need to do to go through that process, and it's not gonna happen overnight, that's for sure. Like everything else takes time to do, and you wanna do it right, and, you know,
The key, if I understand it correctly, is when the county decides it wants to do something, they will forward to us a proposed joint powers agreement that we can then react to. we meaning the city, not so much us. I guess we get involved in it to some extent because it becomes park property, right? Unless it's county park.
Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, well, in any event,
Yeah.
if and when they send one, you should let us know.
Oh, for sure.
Is there any new business?
We will all be
Oh,
involved in it.
No, I have maybe old business, I think.
okay, well, here it is, right there.
Well, and I think I know the answer to this, but I forget it, but I was reminded in August during our busiest time when I drive down this street into the Coast Guard parking lot, which is completely full in August, and everybody's walking to town, and there's no sidewalks.
In the middle of
And I know
Broadway.
we've talked about this before, but, you know, and they're just, but there's no place, I mean, they have to walk in the middle of the street because there's so many people going both directions.
City, we talked about this.
And we have talked about it, but I forget who,
So Broadway's a county road.
Broadway,
a county road in the city,
Yes. Just like 8th Avenue.
state aid county road.
right?
Yes.
County road.
Wisconsin streets the same way.
So, but the safety of it seems to be strange, because there's
Yeah.
cars trying to go, there's bicyclists, there's scooters, there's
Yes.
motorcycles, and it's just like, it's such a mess in August, so I just stay away from it, but I drove down it a couple times, it's just, because it's probably one of the, maybe the second biggest parking lot, and there's just so many people there, and,
Well, that's something to talk about when we look at fixing the
Boulder.
boulder and the piling
Seawall. Yeah.
along that edge.
Yeah.
That would be a good time.
Yeah. There's a planning process.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Right now.
that huge lot needs more than one sidewalk. I think everybody likes to walk along the harbor. That'd be a good spot. And then everybody also likes to walk along the other harbor because you're going to the Coast Guard point.
Right.
So whether you put sidewalks on both sides or whether you, a lot of big parking lots in the big cities that you go to, they have parking, but then down the middle of the parking lane is a sidewalk that protects kids and parents with strollers and things like that, so they're not going behind cars and, you know. That would be something to look at, lay that out and look at that, but I
so
think.
we own the land on the side.
Outside the right of way.
Outside the right of way, just on the west side,
West side. Yeah. Boulder Park.
nothing on the east side, or with the rocks?
No.
On the east side, okay.
East side's like, there's a sidewalk till about Red Pine.
Right,
And then at
Right.
Sydney's and the private residence, there is none.
Kinda ends at
Right before Sydney's.
Right.
shoreline, right before.
and then in the actual parking lot itself, all the way down to going towards,
Coast Guard is city property.
that is city property,
Oh,
and the
this-
rocks there, and the,
Yeah.
there's a few picnic tables and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you could put a sidewalk in there, but you gotta realize that it is going to get hit with
Yeah,
storms.
Oh, yeah,
washed
it's
over
Gets hit,
constantly.
gets covered up with
The
rocks
parking lot
now.
gets hit.
Yeah.
I'm confused. At the next meeting, could you bring us some kind of map, hand-drawn or otherwise, that lays out who owns what down there?
Sure.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, and as Craig's alluded to, right now we're engaged with the engineering firm. We've got some grant money to look at like stormwater and shoreline resiliency in the Boulder Park zone, in that old seawall that's right after the trading post corner, you know,
Right.
there's like a sheet piling there that's kind of porous. Every time the big waves come rolling in, we, lose some material on the backside of it. And so this spring, we got like a Great Lakes Initiative, federal funded $120,000 to explore options for shoreline stabilization and stormwater management in that corner. But we've always, when we've met with that group, we've said we could much bigger project down here with the Coast Guard facility, with the parking lot, with just, we need a holistic approach to this whole point where if and, when we get the Coast Guard facility, we certainly need some master planning around from, basically Boulder Park on down. And that we don't have an agreement with the DNR anymore that is to be the boat launch parking lot, because that's been transferred over to the park now. And so it really is a blank slate opportunity to put in proper pedestrian access and improve our shoreline resiliency, improve boater access along that sheet piling, feature some I would say, different parking configuration even, cause right now you look at that lot and it's striped like long for truck
Right.
trailers.
Yeah.
Which is very inefficient, cause you're parking like 2 cars where
Back
you
to
could do
back.
3.
Third
Right,
person
right.
can't get out, so they're
Yeah.
wasting a lot of space.
So I think there is, like you say, Steve, if we wanna look at this next month as just a concept, Coast Guard point planning, it's a foreshadowing of a bigger master planning effort.
I
Right.
want the map only because I couldn't understand what was being said about who owned what and who controlled what. So
Yeah.
it would be helpful to have a little map to
Yeah,
make sure of that. And then
Yeah.
we can decide how much we want to talk about it.
yeah, and it would give me a chance to really bring us up to speed on this recent planning effort, cause the engineers were just in town last week, I wasn't with them, I was on vacation, but they were down there looking at the sheet piling and talking about the waves, and now they're gonna do the type of data analysis for what it would take to do it better down there. And stormwater management the same way, it's just a surface lot right now that's just draining into the low spots, and there's some opportunities there.
Well, is there anything else for the good of the order? This is your chance to bring up something we haven't talked about. Okay, I guess it must be time to go home. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.